I've just sent you a request because I haven't heard.
No worries, I got it. Approve. Right, so we're live on both platforms now. So if you're on YouTube, good evening. If you're on Facebook, good evening. Paul will be joining us on Facebook in just a second. Paul is live with us on YouTube.
Is it connecting me on Facebook?
Yeah, it says adding. It says adding.
Right, 1 second. Right, let me go back out of the live feed that is on the Mac.
Just having a few technical difficulties at the minute, and then we'll get onto it, guys.
Just try adding me again, Tom.
I'll add you again. It's saying, hold on. Let me just add you again. It's not letting me add you. It's not letting me add you as a guest on Facebook.
I'll come out of the live feed and come back in again.
No worries. Just having a few technical difficulties at the minute. YouTube, you're all good. So hello to everybody in chat on YouTube. Hello to everybody in chat on Facebook. We're just getting Paul in at the minute. We're just having a few technical difficulties.
I have come back in.
Cool.
But I joined it on my Mac as well, and I'm sure it's when I do that, it fucks everything up.
I've shared on all the groups. Thank you, Pixie. Really appreciate that. What's going on, Viv? Darren, you all right? Can you send a request, Paul?
I can. I just have.
Cool. Approve.
Accept. Bam.
You're in?
Yes, man.
Let me turn my volume down on my phone. There we go. So we're up on both. So welcome, episode 51. We are one episode away from a year's worth of episodes. We have done more than a year on the channel, but we've not done 52 episodes. We went on Facebook, so technically we have done 52 episodes, but on YouTube there isn't live 52 episodes. So next week will be a year of endless banter. Paul, I just want to ask you, how do you think it's gone so far with the endless banter? Us going on stage at Expo and stuff like that, all through just us talking on YouTube and Facebook.
You know what? I enjoy it. If I'm absolutely honest, the fact it's every Wednesday at a certain time fucks me off. More because only because some Wednesdays I might not want to do it because we can't go out on a Wednesday because I'm like, well, we got banter, but it's the only thing. But actually, when we're doing it, I enjoy it. I've had a good laugh, and it's been nice to see the same people tuning in week out. And doing the 2 episodes on stage at Expo was awesome. I haven't even asked them about doing it in May, to be honest, and I'm not really that fussed about doing it, or not, to be fair. So Tash asked me the other night, and I said, well, I never even asked them for anything. But before, we just says, they said, do you want to do it, and whatever, and we agreed to do it. But I'm not really going to push it for May. I'd rather concentrate on what we're trying to do, to be fair. So.
Yeah, definitely. It has been fun, and we've not really gone like over the set, which is good for 52 episodes. We've never really gone over sort of the same subject. We've not sort of splattered on weeks and weeks and weeks about the same stuff. So coming up with new stuff every week is probably mint. And we have got a fun show this week, and we've got lots to talk about. So, how's your week been? How are you? How's the ribs? How's the lung? When are you going back to work? If you're allowed back to work. And what have you had for tea? What have you had for tea? What are you drinking? What are you vaping? General.
My week has been okay. It's been. I felt Monday. Yesterday, I felt like it was the first 2 days where genuinely I'd made some improvements and felt a little bit better. And then today, I've felt a bit shitty actually. I feel sore again, and I don't know if it's just generally. Like, I'm not doing nothing mad. Don't get me wrong. I ain't been like fucking decorating or anything like that. But I think just even when I feel better, you just do more, even if it's only getting up or picking up the baby or whatever. But today I felt a little bit sore, but generally, I feel like I'm getting better slowly, which is to be expected. Good evening, Mr. Mills. I've had nothing for my tea. I cooked. Tasha's down in the shop, so I cooked for the girls. I've armed myself up with a box of Jaffa cakes because that's the sort of healthy cunt that I am. I was eating some scratchings before we started, but I'm guessing these are going to be proper noisy on the live feed.
I thought you can hear every fucking crunch.
Yeah. Mate, some people have YouTube videos just of people eating.
Yeah, ASMR. Millions and millions of views of people just eating. It's to hear the sounds. There's one where there's a woman and she's got a brolly and she like rubs the brolly and you can hear it in obviously the two different ears. It's weird as fuck. If nobody's ever watched ASMR, Google or YouTube ASMR. It is weird as hell. There's a guy that literally eats takeaways for a living on fucking YouTube.
I'm going to start one of them channels, but just for scratchings.
No, it'd have to be for crunchy stuff. Like literally just crunchy stuff. Crisps, scratchings, crackers. Somebody's literally getting off to the sound of you doing that, right?
I'm all out.
ASMR, man. ASMR is weird. It's one weird thing. So you've had dope for tea, so you're sitting with Jaffas and scratchings. I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely cool with that.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing these are shit for a food eating.
Yeah, they're the proper Jaffas. They're not the ones we fucking talked about last week. They're the proper Jaffas.
Mate.
If you didn't watch last week's show, make sure you watch last week's show. We literally did 2 hours on food.
Authentic. So no clone zone for fucking food in this day. So the thing with these is, like, this channel would be boring.
Yeah. Yeah, they are pretty noiseless, aren't they? I think the clone ones have got a bit more of a crunch.
Just a fucking style out the box, mate.
I'm about to demolish half a duck with pancakes and hoisin sauce, says Aaron Mills. It's all right for some minute.
I'm not a duck sort of guy.
No, I'm not keen. I like noodles.
It's a bit greasy.
Appointment to speak to Paul at Expo. Bring Jaffa cakes, says Pixie. or scratchings or peanuts.
There's times in the day where I'd literally swap a mod for a bottle of cold pop. If you catch me at the right time.
Too true. Right, we've got loads of stuff to cover this week. The news we didn't last week. If you did watch last week's show, we literally did talk about food for 2 hours, and it was proper reminiscent. It was funny. So if you haven't watched the show, make sure you go watch episode 50. It's well worth the watch. So we got loads of news to catch up on this week. So there's a few things. Me and you spoke about a few of these things. And the first one we're going to talk about is Juul wants to promote itself as a quit smoking product. So rather than a vaping product, it now really wants to be known as an NRT. This week as well, I don't know if you saw it, but Phil Posado put a picture up that he took of somebody stood next to a Juul stand. They was sort of promoting Juul outside on sort of shopping markets and stuff like that. And the guy was stood there with his Juul jumper on next to the Juul stand having a fag. And my comment to that was, either way you look at it, Philip Morris is getting his money.
The way I look at it, mate, is that I had a meeting. Where are we now in March? So I'm probably going back to, I would think, September of last year. So at least six months ago. And I had a meeting about what was needed to pharmaceutically register a closed system for the likes of hospitals, prisons, etc. Prescription. A very quick outcome of this was that there was already 2 people that are in the process of doing this. Registration fees would probably run somewhere to the tune of around about £250,000. So that was to register a unflavoured device, a tobacco flavour, and a menthol flavour. £250,000. There's two companies that have already gone ahead or working on the registration of unflavoured, menthol, and tobacco, which is why when you put the thing up about the flavour ban in the week,
yeah,
I do believe it will come to the UK. Whether it will come to the UK as a part and parcel of the vaping, or whether it will be this pharmaceutical thing to come under NRT, I don't know. Like I've said before, I haven't got an issue with Juul. I haven't got an issue with Blue. I haven't got an issue with the other fuckers, what they're called, vape, not burn, not vape, or
ICOS.
I've got an issue with Oikos. I've got an issue with how they're sold and how they're marketed. And I think to sell a heat not burn device under the 95% safer than cigarettes as a vaping product didn't sit right with me. But as far as Juul and Blue, and I see people now going, "You stock Blue, really? You fucking dickhead, man! Oh, fucking oh." I don't stock Blue because actually I didn't want to promote their products, because ultimately they're just going to go mass supermarket sales, and Wendy, who comes in every week for a Blue refills, will start picking them up at Asda. So I just felt I didn't want to be involved in their marketing campaign, which is ultimately what they're all doing, is marketing the products to go into the right places. So brand recognition is there, and people know that if they're using a Blue device they got from Shady Vaping, they can get the top up for it from Asda. So that was my reasons for doing it, not because I don't agree with Big Tobacco being involved in the industry. I don't think it's a bad thing, on the basis that they've spent big amounts of money. They will get some stuff pushed in our favour, even if it's only short term, which means the masses become more accepting of the fact that vaping isn't as dangerous as cigarettes. So all them things, I'm comfortable with that. The bloke at the Juul stand smoking a cigarette is no different to the bloke at the vape meet smoking a cigarette. People are just too quick to jump on Big Tobacco as a vaping brand, and the reality is, it is what it is. They've invested billions of pounds into the industry. It will have created awareness that benefits us as a retailer, even if it's short term, and that benefit's still beneficial to us right here and now, because in X amount of time they will control the industry, as we've said many times over. And I don't want to kill the show with a 2-hour talk about Big Tobacco, but it is what it is, mate. And as far as marketing Juul as an NRT, I think that's how we always should have marketed vape, personally. It is a nicotine replacement. It is. That's the whole point of it. Now, most other NRTs are designed to or marketed about getting you off cigarettes, and because you're not physically inhaling vape, that it's just accepted. Now, the reality is, if you're using a spray and that's got you off, or I know people who became addicted to the gum.
Yeah.
It's no different to being addicted to the gum, addicted to the vape, addicted to a spray, addicted to some sort of nicotine capsule thing that you inhale the same way. All of it is about replacing one addiction with a better addiction. I'm not against Big Tobacco coming to the vaping world, because they're going to bring people over with them. It won't be long until we see the Zippo mech. Is that an actual thing, Levi, or is that just your thing? Is that your take on it?
I've seen there was a release of it. It looked like it was a couple of years back, and there was a device that was a mouth to lung device, and it flipped out like a Zippo. I've seen a device that's already on the market.
That's the thing. That's a mod. I didn't know the Zippo have actually done a Met model. That's just Levi's take on how he thinks the industry will go.
My phone's just crashed. By the way, my phone's just crashed. So we're currently on YouTube, not Facebook. My phone's having a fit.
Right, just try doing another live with them, mate.
Yeah, my phone's just had a fit and turned off. So we're just on Facebook. We're just on YouTube at the minute because my phone's gone off till.
It's probably some fucking dodgy update, you cunt.
Probably. Anyway, so we'll get. I agree with you on that, and then you've got on the other side of it, you've got an article here that says the Trump administration proposal federal budget for fiscal year 2020 includes user fees on vaping manufacturers. The fees previously assessed only on tobacco companies pay for the operation of the FDA Center for Tobacco Products (CTP), including regulatory and enforcement activities and public education, like the 60 million real cost campaign. So Trump is basically saying he wants an extra 100. Well, his administration is saying they want an extra $100 million from the states to educate about vaping. So, to me personally, how's he going to get this money from all these? Is he getting it from the shops? Is he getting it just from the manufacturers? He's saying he's getting it from the users. How are you going to implement getting $100 million from the likes of users, manufacturers?
I would imagine the only way to really control that is by going to the manufacturer.
Direct.
Only on the basis that if I sell it and I've got some dodgy business, the government aren't getting it. If the manufacturer putting the price on before they sell it, like they do currently with cigarettes, they're regulated. So all it means is the price of everything will go up, and the manufacturer will be passing a huge portion of that onto the.
Is it? Would you say that's an easier way of taxing it rather than putting a tax on it?
It's the only way to make it taxable properly and manageable, because there's less chance of the manufacturers fucking fudging stuff than us.
Yeah, let's be honest. We've been over this subject a few times, but the states are fucked. They're really at the verge now where it is literally just big tobacco. And I stated it in my status that I don't think it'll be big tobacco. It'll be big vaping. I honestly think there will be a terminology of big vaping because it will be these big companies that then take control of it, especially in the States.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a massive negative for the guys in the States, and obviously we don't want these regulations to be coming over here. But by the by, it is gonna happen in a matter of years because we've not really followed the FDA and sort of the TPD regulations have not really followed the FDA. But it's only a matter of a time before the big boys that own these companies, like Philip Morris, who owns Juul now, parts of Juul, and moves over to different vaping companies, sets his foot down and says, "This is what is going to fucking happen," because he's the one that's paying tax, and I can imagine he's either paying fuck all tax or a lot of tax.
Who is?
Philip Morris.
I mean, his company pays billions in tax.
You've got them all doing dodgy. You've got like Starbucks that don't pay any tax in the UK or anything like that. They don't pay zero fucking tax.
I don't think it works right with tobacco, mate.
Is that what it is? It's just obviously through what industry it is and that. I just thought it was big corporates. So, all my phone has a fit and decides to fix itself up. We're going to watch this video. I've told you about this video before the show, but I haven't showed you this video. And the article says, world's stupidest thieves rob a vape shop. And it's a video. I'm going to take my headphones out while I play the video so you can hear it. And I'll just share my screen now. Tell me if you can see. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. Let me just turn this up. All right. This is the video.
Hello, everybody. Unfortunately, I'm here with some bad news. This morning, on Monday, March 11th at 1:06 a.m., our store on 3562 Pembina Highway was robbed. Before we go into more detail, we are rewarding $2,000 to anyone that finds their identities that will lead to their arrest. But please, if you have any leads on who they are or find the items being sold, please contact us on our Facebook page, by phone at 204-219-8787, or by email at sayhello@flamingovape.ca. I will leave a full list of the items stolen in the description, but to go over them quickly, it was an Acer R11 Chromebook with Okami Wolf stickers and no charger, a space gray iPad with 32 gigs of storage, and 4 purge mods and 3 smock kits. I have also listed the serial numbers for the purge mods in the description. Now, before I go into the hilarious footage of these two idiots, I'm going to give their quick physical description. The man wearing the yellow high-visibility jacket and sweatpants is approximately 5'10" to 6 feet tall and weighs approximately 230 pounds. The woman in this video is wearing the black jacket and black boots. She is approximately 5'6" to 5'8", 300 pounds, and very clearly has knock knees. While we cannot determine their ethnicity, a few glimpses show us that they do have fair skin.
That looks like a woman.
Now that we have the serious information out of the way, it's time to look at how stupid these two people really are. Now, first of all, what kind of idiot wears a high visibility jacket to a robbery? Whatever happened to the classic all black? As you can see in this clip, this idiot was really hoping to find something behind her counter. He actually forgot that vape nut that he's holding before he left. I really don't understand what he was trying to find here, as the products are all on the other side of the store and right behind him. You can really tell this upset him. He childishly pushes the tester stand just to show it who's boss. This is one of my favorite parts. You can see he's holding the cord, so he acknowledges that it's there, but he just keeps on yanking at the laptop, expecting it just to go with him. It does take him a little while, but he finally figures out how to unplug a laptop. And after all that trouble he went through, he didn't even take the charger, so I don't really know what he expects to do with it. You can see her trying to steal these juice testers, which is probably the least valuable thing they could have stolen. What is she going to do with used tanks and half-empty bottles of 0 milligram juice? I'll admit these are very nice acrylic stands, but I don't really see what use she would have for them. My favorite part about this was the fact that she was stealing empty boxes. The products are right there. Why would you steal the display box?
Watch what she does now.
They tried to steal our garbage can because I guess they forgot to bring a backpack. The man walks up to the glass display case and attempts to open it like it's a wooden crate. You have crowbars and a sledgehammer. Why not just smash the glass like he did everything else? He clearly doesn't understand how glass works, as it ends up shattering all over him anyway. Now here's where some karma kicks in. She very poorly attempts to smash our display cases, using a hammer in the wrong way. And as soon as she gives up, the glass decides to take revenge, and she gets domed. I think it's hilarious when she breaks the garbage can and still attempts to put things inside of it. You can see her shoveling products right onto the floor, and it takes her quite a while to realize. I'm really surprised to see that this door survived, as her head's probably a lot thicker than that sledgehammer. We can really see that this woman is definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed, and is more than likely going to be the reason that they get caught. Now, as funny as watching how incompetent these people were, this is still a very serious issue. If you have any information regarding these two individuals, please contact us directly through our Facebook page, through telephone at 204-219-8787, or by email at sayhello@flamingovape.ca. Our store is still in full operation.
There you go. There's the video of the robbery. That has to be. I'm going to be deadly honest. When I saw this video for the first time, and the guy who's narrating is obviously the owner, and for him to take that absolute piss out of this video after his store's being robbed, is really, really comical. For me, when she was shoveling that shit out of the product into the bin and the bin's bottom were off, and she fucking like, why are they all falling out?
Mate, this is the key to that burglary where they went into the vape shop to burgle it, and he says, no, come back at 5 o'clock, we'll have more money. And they says, all right then. So they got back at 4 o'clock, And he says, no, we don't shut till 5, mate. Come back at 5 and we'll have about another fucking $1,200 or whatever it was. So they went back at 5 and got arrested. And I'm like, 3 times they went into that shop and they never took a stick and got fucking nicked. Absolute morons.
Fucking absolutely crazy. For me personally, how that bloke took it is mental, but how they actually give it the shot, not prepared. You see her when she was swinging it to fucking cabinet. Like, what the fuck are you doing, love? You got a sledgehammer? She couldn't even pick it up.
Morons, mate.
Fucking absolutely crazy. Is there a lesson to be learnt though with that situation? That out there, obviously, he's put that video as seriously and in a funny way. Do you think there's stuff to be learned from that? Like he said at the end of the video, he said it's still a serious issue.
Have roller shutter on your shop and have red care alarm on your shop. I don't understand what these people have got. Like that looks like some rickety old fucking village style glass door that you could tug open. I don't understand it. Don't understand it.
Don't a lot of the shops over here people won't insure you if you don't have an alarm? Like
we have to have red care on our alarm to get insurance.
So which goes straight to the police, isn't it? Yeah. It's fucking crazy. I just watched that video in just absolute awe. Just the way they acted, the way they were. Obviously desperate as fuck. Didn't have a clue what they were stealing. Didn't prepare. Didn't have a bag. Didn't have fuck all. Like that is robbery of fucking jokers. An absolute robbery of jokers.
What's your phone saying, Thomas?
Let's get it back up on Facebook. It's saying it's 5%. That's maybe why, because my phone's drained the fucking done this update and drained the battery.
You have a charger on it?
Yeah. Let's get it back up. Cool. I've got it back up. Might have to run off and go get another charger if this one's not charging enough. I've gone live on Facebook as well now. So that is absolutely crazy. I saw that today and I was like, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna do that at all, is absolutely fucking crazy. And last bit of news before we do carry on to some other stuff that I've got written down. Talking about obviously about this Trump thing. And then going over to what Arkansas, I think that's how you say it in the States. They're basically getting people to sign a petition because their state government, not the main government, their state government is trying to put a 67% vape tax on all vaping products. 67%,
which probably brings it back in line with smoking.
Like. Maybe 5% profit, if that. 5 to 10% profit.
And that's I did request to join that. Did it come up or not?
Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, I've approved you. Come in now. Will you stop pinching your neighbour's Wi-Fi? I haven't got the neighbour's Wi-Fi. My phone went into fucking meltdown. So anybody who's watching before, if Facebook does shut down again, remember to go over to YouTube and join us on YouTube. It's www.youtube.com/endlessmodsuk. So if Facebook does go off, get yourself over to YouTube. We are streaming over on YouTube as well, guys. So I do apologise anybody who was watching on Facebook. So 97% vape tax. Is this? It's getting to the point now, Paul, where I honestly believe that we know for a fact a lot of US companies are now coming into Europe and manufacturing in Europe. Is it going to be the point where is it a proper stalemate?
It will come to this country. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what the profit on a packet of cigarettes is. It's not much. So if a newsagent sells cigarettes, really it's a loss leader to get people to go into the shop to buy their fags, to pick up a bottle of milk, to pick up the newspaper, to pick up some sweets, to pick up some pop. And ultimately that's the way that vaping will go. I'm 99% sure that if you went and bought, we've said it before about sort of hot tobacconists where they sell fucking apple flavored tobacco or cherry menthol tobaccos and all that sort of malarkey. They charge more for their product, and some people who want something different goes and buys it. And I'm pretty sure it's got to be the way that this industry goes as well. I would have thought. I don't know. We shall see, mate. We shall see.
Yeah. Do you think that vaping is at a stalemate?
What it does, it sort of takes the industry on its arse from a direct retail point of view, just for a vape shop, because you just couldn't run the overhead of the business on that small amount of profit. You just couldn't.
No way. Well, do you think that'll push more people online rather than brick and mortar?
No, I think it'll just end up being a supermarket thing, because it'll just be next to the cigarettes that are still low margin.
Yeah. It's gonna push basically everybody out, really, isn't it? It would push a lot of businesses out. Even like wholesalers. Even wholesalers would be pushed out.
They'd be fucked. I say we used to buy cigarettes from the wholesaler when we smoked, and actually for 200 fags it was about £8 cheaper or something than buying them from the shop. So it's not like the wholesaler's making thousands of pounds.
It's like by the time you get in your car, you've drove to wherever you need to go to wholesalers. You've spent it on fuel, getting there and back.
Yeah,
you might as well just go to the shop
from the wholesaler. If we were at the wholesaler buying something else, I'd never drive there just to buy the fags. It just wasn't worth it. In fact, it weren't even £9 on. It might be £9 on 200s, which is less than £1 a packet. I don't even think it was that much. I'm thinking it was only like fucking 30 or 40 pence a packet difference.
Fucking hell.
Not enough to warrant sort of. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, mate, I can't think of anywhere that just you go into and it sells Benson and Edges, Silk Cut, because they just wouldn't afford to survive. Cigarettes are sold at shops to get people to go in there to buy them, to spend the money on other things.
Yeah, 100%. Like petrol stations, that's the whole reason they make the money off the other goods. They're not making money off fags or fuel. They're making it off you going in buying crisps and chocolate and shit drinks and shit. That's where they're making the dough. They're surviving off what else is in the shop, and these little things you get in their chargers and stuff like that, and everything else is what they want you to buy. They're not particularly fussed about you filling up your car and whatnot. They want you to spend elsewhere.
Good afternoon, good evening, Levi. You've got there. The end goal is to stop smoking and vaping, so eventually it'll phase out. We only feel so passionate about it because we're in the industry ourselves. It's not what I feel passionate about. I felt just as passionately about fucking smoking. I think when they're charging that much money for a product they know is not only is killing people. The byproduct of it killing people is that it puts a multi-billion-pound strain on any country's health system. And instead of saying let's not sell this, but let's just increase the cost of it so we still make loads of dough, is the most hypocritical scenario I could ever imagine.
True.
Then to find an alternative that single-handedly would save billions and billions and billions of pounds on health system expense over the next 25 years. So then control it in such a way where they're literally not asked about health, they're asked about money. It fucks me off. Pisses me off.
Because that's what it is. That is the main goal. We know that. Like big pharma, cancer is one of the biggest profiting things in the fucking world. You would I'm sorry if anybody disagrees with me, you can disagree with me, but I would never ever see a cure for cancer because it makes too much fucking money.
It's ridiculous.
If I said tomorrow, came out and went, I found a cure for cancer, I'm telling you now, someone would have been knocking at my door.
You know what? I'm not really a tin hat wearing type of guy, but also I'm not stupid. And I just think if you can, I don't believe with today's technology that they're not aware of what is cancer is at its highest levels of all time, but actually smoking isn't. But the amount of shit that's put into it, I've watched programs this week about, is it aspartame or whatever it is, the
aspartame, yeah.
It's just like it's killing people, literally killing people.
It's banned in America, but it's not banned over here. It's just named something different in America.
And it's like, I don't believe that they can't control population and control it for the most financially viable way, which is ultimately every cunt dying in hospital using loads of drugs, and the government are making money on the fags that are killing us. They're making money on the medication trying to fix us from smoking. Actually, stop selling the cigarettes. Just stop them, cut them out overnight. And you know why they don't? Because literally the world would come to a fucking standstill because there wouldn't be enough money.
My phone's died again. And my phone's done one. My phone has fucking done one. And this is my fault. So we'll have to stick it. Yeah. Sorry for cutting you up there. I just feel like we're just in a big fucking rut. We are in a massive rut. With the fact is that everything is just a cycle. Vaping was obviously founded years and years and years ago, way before we think 10 years ago. But it's fucking thought about 50 years. You know, the very first vaping device was founded probably 50 years ago.
I watched a program about it, and actually, the very first vaping devices they tried to do it with water, nicotine infused water, like basically water that had been soaked in nicotine. But obviously, it doesn't combust, and then the propylene glycol and all that malarkey was added. I'm sure it was like a 1980s thing, so or the late 70s or early 80s.
Yeah, it's years and years old.
It's a long time ago.
So for us in the last
50 years ago, you prick. I was born in 76.
Well, what did you say? 70s?
I can't remember whether it was the late 70s or whether it was early 80s, but I did watch a whole program about it, and actually the bloke could have patented the technology and chose not to because he genuinely wanted to create something that saved people's lives. And as a person, although he made money from it, because I can't remember what his first company was, but he sold it and then set up another company. He sort of made from manufacturing product, but didn't make nothing like the money he could have made had he have patented the whole idea of electronic cigarettes. So it's but then obviously the government will make off it what they need and want to make off it.
But to me, the thing is, then you start thinking, did they stop him making the technology better? Do you know what I mean? That's when I start thinking certain things. Did they stop him doing certain things? You know, why did they not take that technology by the balls and run with it? Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest, you cut out cigarettes and you put vaping in place, and everyone's got a vape who smokes. It's still a £1 billion industry.
Yeah, but it's a £50 billion industry at the moment, and that's what I've said for the last 18 months. Is that even if every fucker that vapes smokes at current costs, and whenever I'm talking about big tobacco and smoking and vaping, you've got to bear in mind I'm talking about mouth to lung vaping. I'm not talking about hobby sub-ohm vaping. But if every person that currently smokes 20 cigarettes a day went over to vaping, they would save thousands of pounds a year, which means the government would lose billions of pounds a year. Billions. So even if they converted everyone to vaping, the industry itself is only worth something like 15% of the overall revenue of the tobacco. Then you've got to think how many billions of pounds of revenue from smoking is then bought in by Big Pharma for selling tablets that fix the cancer that smoking give you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things. So I went on that seminar a long time ago, and the bloke basically says that one of the issues that is faced worldwide is that as people start converting from smoking to vaping, obviously from our point of view, we predominantly sell for two reasons, or we predominantly promote it for two reasons. One is cost, one is health benefit. It's going to be one of them two reasons that someone chooses to start vaping over smoking. And I still believe that more people would start vaping through cost than they do through health. Although I accept people that genuinely say, if it costs me exactly the same to vape as it does to smoke, I'd rather vape because of my health. So there is always that percentage. But there's probably 2 generations worth of people that need to die before the overall benefits to the health system are gained through people not smoking as many cigarettes. So if you've got 20 years worth of burden on the NHS system or any healthcare system in any country of the world, but you haven't got the revenue coming in from tobacco, somewhere along the line, there's a black hole that has to be filled.
Yeah.
And then at some point in the future, the revenue off tobacco's on its arse. The revenue off big pharma has dropped considerably. Where does all this money come from that funds all these fucking high flyers? Just doesn't. It's not there.
Yeah. It literally, you go into a dark hole. If you thought about this all the time, and the way that the world is run, and how money is such the reason why we are so regulated in vaping, and why vaping at the forefront it is being targeted, is due to money and power of people who've got this money, who literally just say, well, you making me lose money. That is the end goal of it. Is the fact is that this product that's come out is currently saving lives, is reducing illness, is stopping people going to smoking and getting these ill health. It's kind of, it fucks with your brain. For me, it does. It personally does. If I sat here and really thought about it, it would fuck my brain, because it's kind of evil in a way, because you are saving people, you are looking after people, you are saving money from our NHS fund. You're not having to invest all this money and lose money, but then in the long run, someone is losing money, and that's where they're turning around and going, we are the powers that be. You're making us lose money. This ain't gonna fucking happen. Because they're all in the pockets of the government, because that's they're taking money off the government. It's scary. It really is scary. If you sat here and thought about it, it's fucking scary.
It is the way. It is the way of the world, mate. And so we'll never control it, because the powers that be are too powerful. They dictate which way the world spins around and how it spins, and what money comes from where, and that's it. That's the world that we live in, unfortunately.
It's fucking mental. It's absolutely mental. I did write something down earlier, and it is of the words of, is vaping at a stalemate? Do you believe it is at a stalemate, or do you believe it's on its way to a stalemate?
Stalemate in what way?
In sort of every sort of way, maybe products, in attitudes, in the way it's moving forward as the industry growth. Are we currently at the best but the worst point in vaping from a world aspect, not just under us as TPD and UK? Do you think under a world aspect of vaping, are we at sort of the best place but the worst place at the same time?
I think generally we're not in a good place, because they're trying to gain control of the industry. But from an industry's point of view, there's still way more people smoking cigarettes in the world than there is vaping. I believe that figure will continue to grow on that basis. We've still all got potentially healthy businesses until we can no longer trade, because it's not viable from a tax point of view, or because big tobacco and big pharma own this industry the same way they do the cigarette and the pharmaceutical industry.
I personally feel, as looking at us as a whole, I feel like the UK is definitely a stalemate for me personally. I really do. I feel like we was all about battery technology and moving forward with batteries and stuff like that. That sort of grinded to a halt, because there's no further way of what we can do with batteries for mods. I feel like there's not that excitement, that emphasis with vaping. Obviously, it's become very mainstream compared to what we've ever seen it at. A lot of people in the chat, me and you in particular, it's very mainstream and out in everybody now is sort of at the limelight where people accept vaping. Vaping is now a thing. It's now, you can't walk down the high street and not see somebody vaping. You know, when we very first started, as we stated before, people said to you, is it wacky wacky? Because they didn't have a clue what it was. And now we sort of see it in the high street. It's very mainstream. And I feel like it's going to take a lot, or it's not going to happen, where we're going to get out of this rut and we're going to move forward with vaping as, you know, family-run businesses. I think, as you said before, it's getting to the point where it is big companies taking over, and that's how it's going to be for the future and the near future. It's a fucking hard subject. It really is a hard subject. Right, I'm going to speak to you, Paul, about mouth to lung. You are the mouth to lung man. Mouth to lung is your thing.
Yep.
What do you believe the benefits are between what devices you use and pod systems? Do you really feel like pod systems hold any difference? What is what reason you would use a pod system, and what's the reason you different? Because I'm going to be honest, I word this differently. I believe that something you use would be classed as a mouth-to-lung device. Do we class a pod system as a mouth-to-lung device, or what do we put it on? I feel like pod system currently has its own category, and obviously you always go. I just want your opinion on it.
A pod system should always be a mouth-to-lung device, because I'm yet to see a pod system that's got any battery capability to not be anything other than a mouth-to-lung device. My issue with pod systems is that they are perfect mouth-to-lung devices, and only few of them are made perfect mouth-to-lung devices, because most of them lack airflow control. On that basis, I don't get why, quite honestly.
Do you think we'll move into a section where people are now saying we need, because there is a few pods out there that do offer, different airflows, usually with a fucking bung. It's not really anything that you can change.
The few that do offer them, the only ones that I've used that are any good are the ones that restrict it through the coil. And I don't know whether that just makes the airflow across the coil different. But the ones that seem to restrict it through the mouthpiece, so if I talk about the Zalto, the Orion, them type of devices, for me personally, when I've restricted it where I need it to be for mouth to lung, the airflow is that bad across the coil that the flavour drops off massively. And actually, I was so hopeful that something like the Zalto that's got an 1100 mAh battery in it, which is perfect for me for a day-to-day vape device. It's still stealthy, it's still small, it's easy to fill up. But then you've got to sort of decide where does a pod system become a clever use of a tank system that's shaped in the form of a pod. Do you know what I mean? For me, a pod system, in my eyes, would be a fully disposable pod.
Yeah.
Anything that can be refilled is, I mean, what's a pod?
Enclosed unit, isn't it?
Well, for me, it's something where either you take off the cartridge and fuck it off and snap a new one in, and then but if you can refill it, it's a tank. You can shape it any way you like, but the reality is if you can change the coil and fill it up, it's not a pod. That's my personal opinion of it. Now, obviously, there's lots of devices that are claiming to be a pod system that are just a very small mod with a tank that's shaped to fit inside the top end of the device.
Yeah, because the same as you, I always think, like, because I hear people say I'm using a pod, it's mouth to lung, and then I think, why don't you use a mouth to lung tank? For me personally, I don't understand the benefits of using a pod system. I really don't.
The benefit, mate, I would use a pod system tomorrow if I could find one that done its job, just because of the size of it, because they're easy to use. I personally would pay a little bit more for a disposable pod system that's completely clean, where I could have a packet of pods in my pocket or in my car or on my desk or at my house. And when it's empty, I fuck the pod off and stick one on. And I ain't got to worry about running out of coils. I ain't got to worry about running out of liquid. If I've got the pod, I'm ready to go. So for me, that's a pod system. And I would use them gladly tomorrow because they're clean, they're convenient. If I go back to early pod systems of times gone by, they actually vape perfectly. The draw on them was perfect for mouth to lung. It replicated a cigarette. The trouble is now, so many people are using pod systems that have gone back from sub-ohm vaping.
Yeah.
So they still think it's a nice tight draw. You give most of these pod systems to a brand new vapor, and they're too airy.
Yeah, way too airy. Yeah, I've been looking on the market and stuff like that, and there is pod systems is the new thing, and as you state, a lot of them ain't pod systems. They're literally a fancy tank because that's what it is. You refill it, it's tank. Why do you think people? Do you think it's just a new craze that people are going towards it? We know for a fact a lot of sub-ohm vapors now are mouth to lunging, gone back full circle, gone back to mouth to lunging, and a lot of them are sitting on pods because they've come away from sub-ohming. Is there a way that maybe not the technology, because a pod's a pod. A pod has a battery, it has the juice. It does exactly the same as what a tank does. It's smaller and it's usually throwable. You get rid of it, pop another one, do as you want. I just think that I would never. I feel like recommending a pod system to a brand new smoker. So a brand new vapor, not smoker, a brand new vapor would hold no benefit to then offering him a Nautilus 2S.
That's how badly organised he is.
I was watching on the way home and just went out for our vlog.
I'm not badly organised. My phone just zapped.
Your fucking phone should have been on 100% before we started. But we won't have a disciplinary meeting on the list. We'll talk about it afterwards.
I want a disciplinary on the log.
One Mr. Disco David's just walked in the house. What a Dave.
Yes, Big Tom.
What's going on?
Same.
All right, mate. You.
We're in the middle of disciplinary.
I just think too many people have made small devices and branded it a pod system when it's not a fucking pod system. Like an AO, a Nautilus AO isn't a pod system. It's ultimately a very small mod with a funky shaped tank that fits inside the very small mod that takes a coil that's refillable. That ain't a pod system for me.
I could never class an AIO.
If you're gonna go over to a pod system that's convenient and and make one that takes a Nautilus coil, which through all of our history's gone by is probably the best methadone coil on the market for consistency and all the rest of it. Give me a battery that's capable of running it for fucking 12 hours.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in a pod system. So then they start going up to these 1.8 and 2 ohm coils. And I've seen some 2.5 ohm coils. Then I can't get a hit out of the cunt. And I'd get more of a hit out of it if I could turn my airflow control down. And I can't because they make it without airflow control. What's that?
What's he doing? What's he doing? Bait him up. What's he doing?
Come on, share with everyone.
Nah, because I don't want the recipe then, and then it's going to be fucked. Because I ain't going to be able to get all
Disco's been telling me for months about instant mashed potato. I tried to explain to Dave that I've never had instant mashed potato because I've never been to prison. Right, so for me, mate, I've got a packet of instant mashed potato in my house, right, and I know that my dad's probably just somersaulted in his grave because, as far as he's concerned, potatoes grow in the ground, not in a packet. But Dave has told me that this will revolutionise my life, and he's sort of literally says we will stop buying potatoes once this happens. And he messaged me yesterday and says, "Bro, I've 12 servings in that. Got to buy a lot of spuds for that, innit?"
Loads of butter in it, yeah. Oh, you know, auto washing
vacuum off on its one.
Don't know.
The vacuum's just fucked off around the living room. So Dave basically says if I have this, I'll change my mind about instant smash. And he says it can't be Smash. It has to be Tesco's. Sainsbury's instant mashed potato. Has to be this one.
I think we
the
should.
The other thing is, it don't run out of date until the 14th of January 2021. So imagine having 12 servings of spuds that would last that long in your cupboard for a quid. So I'm going to start buying this just in case Brexit don't fucking happen as it should. Back to pod systems anyway. I just think, for me personally, a pod system should be a fully disposable pod. On that basis, you can even a full disposable unit, maybe something where the coil and the battery is capable of burning the liquid that comes with it at a decent combustible rate to give you a decent inhale, a decent heat, and when it's gone, you fuck it off and you start again. Now, again, the reality is, for it to be cheap enough to do that, it's never going to happen, really.
Someone's just done a pod system, $7.99 disposable.
The stick pods.
That's not.
It's probably the stick pod, and then they're about how much is stick pods, Tom? For 3, $16.99 for 3.
$16.99, yeah.
So that's cheaper than the $6.99 for one, but it's probably the stick podding singles. But they're akin to about 20 cigarettes, aren't they?
I think they get like 200 puffs out of them.
No, I'm sure it's more than that. I'm sure.
Enjoy space.
Let's have a look at it.
Levi said here, he said, what about that disposable tank?
Which one?
I forgot the name of it.
The Pecco or Preco or...
That's it, the Preco, that's it, yeah.
Mate, that tank's fucking quality. That tank is quality. Turn that down a bit there. Yeah, that tank's fire. For a disposable tank, it's really wicked. Good. And the flavour, its mesh coil flavour's good, the airflow's good. It's good.
But it's sub-ohming though, isn't it? It's sub-ohm. What about a mouth-to-lung tank like that, disposable?
They should do them, and even if it's only refillable till the core's full, then you fuck the whole tank off. But then, for me, they're only emergency tanks because it don't make sense. The only thing
to not change the coil.
I can't remember what the price of the Preco is. $14.99 for 3. Right, yeah. $13.99 for 3. I've seen them as cheap as $11.99 for 3. And actually, if you look at some of the smart coils, certainly like when the TFV12 was out, and some of the coils were £5.50 and £6. And we're buying them in wholesale, mate, at £4.25. So it's not like we're fucking smashing massive profit margins on these things. If you can buy a tank that's disposable, that you just fill up and you vape it until the flavour goes off because the core's fucked, and you move on to the next one. To me, it makes a lot of sense.
But they bring out a mod. They brought out a mod to go with the tank, but obviously the mod wasn't disposable. What about it being because then you go back to saying it's basically an all-in-one. Like the AO is an all-in-one, just not disposable.
Yeah, and look, that's what I was just about to say. That if I could buy a device, so I started off on Vape Stick, which I've said a million times. I actually started off on their Vape Stick, which was the 510 battery, and it was the cartridge that screwed onto the end. When I first started using it, there was the atomizer screwed on, and then the cartridge pushed onto the atomizer, so that I could buy atomizers and change the atomizer. During my journey along using Vape Stick, they actually changed it so the atomizer was part and parcel of the cartridge, and you change the atomizer with every single. And it was actually a mesh atomizer.
Did it have silica though? Did it have silica?
No, it was mesh. I know it was mesh. I didn't know at the time it was mesh because I didn't know what the fucking atomizer was. But I now know from my experience it was a mesh atomizer that had a 510 thread on it that screwed onto the battery, and then the actual mesh atomizer stuck up proud. And when you pushed the cartridge on, it was basically hitting the bottom of the cotton wool, which held the liquid. Now, the other thing that I didn't know at the time, which I now know, is I could have went and bought a bottle of e-liquid from anywhere and squeezed it back down into that cotton wool and keep using the same one. But I knew nothing about vaping. I just used what I had and what I could buy at the shop. But they also done a disposable vape stick, and they done them in menthol and tobacco, and they were slightly bigger than the normal cigarettes. In fact, they were quite a little bit bigger than the cigarettes. Probably had a 300 mAh battery in them off the top of my head. I can't remember. And it was just you just vaped it until it was fucked. Once it was empty, you threw the whole thing away. You couldn't recharge it. They were fire. They were quality. The drag on it was perfect for fucking replicating a cigarette. Something's burning in there, isn't it?
Stephen is fucking mashed potato.
It's my favourite 200 watts. No, it's nobody's put the Scotch custard, bro.
No, it is actually. I didn't realise you were vaping. That's what it is. Yeah, it's probably Dave, man. He's
fucking full cotton up in the evening, though. I've been testing his buzz cotton out, no?
Not the fucking.
I've been testing his buzz cotton
out.
It's not. It's Paul. He needs a shit.
Mate, I'm not even joking. There's a chance for anyone watching. You could see me shit myself on a live feed tonight. I mean, their disposable unit was fucking fire, but they were quite expensive. And they used to, and so from Costco, there was 2 in a packet, and off the top of my head, they were about 15 quid. And the trouble was that because of the amount of cigarettes I smoked, I could use 2 of them in a day. And at the time, my cigarettes were costing me about 16 or 17 quid. 16, 17 quid. Now, the trouble was that I'd rather pay the extra 2 quid and have my fags, knowing that if I run out, I just went and bought some more. Because I didn't give up for health, I give up for money. And when I was that close comparison on the spend, I might as well just buy my cigarettes. I think now my attitude about that's probably different. But then, if I'm honest, if it was going to cost me as much tomorrow to vape as it does smoke, I'd say there's an 80% chance I'd go back to smoking cigarettes.
True.
And if vaping stopped tomorrow, almost certainly I'd go back to cigarettes.
And I think that would be with 99% of people that say they wouldn't.
And then I think ultimately, I know that, you know that, most people who vape, if they've not had a fag, they've done fantastically well. If they know that by not having the vape, they would have a fag. The people at the likes of Philip Morris also know that as well. And that was always my concern with them ultimately having control of this industry, is that can control whether it carries on or whether it don't. It's a bit like me at being in a position to buy Facebook and switching it off. The reality is you could buy it and make a lot of money out of it. You could buy it and just not fuck everyone up because you can. And I just think they've always got that ultimate control of saying, actually, for whatever reason, it wouldn't surprise me, mate, is if once they've got control, that all of a sudden something comes out that says that this vaping is way worse than cigarettes and force people to go back onto tobacco. And if that happens, you heard it here fucking first. But that's the way I think potentially it could go.
That's a few years down the line, though, isn't it?
I don't think there's enough revenue from vaping alone, unless they're making every liquid, every coil, every device, and they've got absolute control of every single spend. But then all they'll do is they'll start forcing it down this pharmaceutical route, and you'll end up with 5 or 6 devices, and that'll be your choice. They'll make them, they'll manufacture them, they'll do them, they'll be disposable. They'll have 1.2 ml of liquid in it. You'll have to pay fucking 8 quid for them. I'm vaping 10 ml a day, mate, so I could go through 10 sticks a day at 60 quid. Or I could say, fuck it, man, I'll go back on my fags at 20 quid or 30 quid.
Do you think there'll ever be a point where that comes where we literally have to get it on prescription, like you have to with Champix or something like that?
Prescription, I'm thinking more like cigarettes where they literally control the manufacturer right the way through to resell. But
yeah,
well, I can't just start making cigarettes now if I wanted to.
No, there's such a process.
I couldn't just say to Tash, well, fuck it, we'll set up a little independent cigarette company and fuck the vaping and we'll make cigarettes that fire and we'll sell them. Because you can't, because you've got to be regulated and all that. And the same will happen, I think, with vape, whether it be liquid, etc., etc. I don't know. Mate, I don't know. We could talk about this every week, and every week we'd have a similar opinion and it'll consume 2 hours of the show, but it is what it is.
Black market vaping. That's the Michael Brown. Mike says black market vaping. Would it get to that? Do you think it would become a thing?
Mate,
if we was pushed to it?
Potentially, yes, because there's a black market for heroin, there's a black market for crack cocaine, there's a black market for weed. There'd have to be a black market for nicotine, which ultimately they can control if they want to.
For me personally, a black market in something like vaping, yes, we say it's heroin and crack and stuff like that. Whatever you can imagine you could get your hands on, but you would have no idea of where that source comes from. Would be exactly the same as you wouldn't have a clue where the source of what you're vaping in your body. So that would be a personal choice to go on that black market.
But the reality is, if you got to the point where you've got to buy some nicotine black market, and because it's black market, the price has gone up, you might as well go down the shops and buy a packet of fags.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, people were. I remember fucking pre-TPD, and people were, I've been out and bought a chest freezer, man. I've got 600 litres of nicotine. For what reason, you mad guy?
Still being sold like it's fucking no.
You buy 72 milligram nicotine if you look around for it. You're not supposed to be able to buy it, but you can. There's companies out there, reputable companies selling it that shouldn't be selling it. It should only be for wholesale customers. So they make you sign up to their website and pretend it's a wholesale account. And so
you on fucking eBay and Amazon if you want.
No, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, they're all really trading as wholesalers, and because they're wholesalers, they can sell 72. You're not supposed to sell 72 milligrams to an end user. You can get it if you look for it.
Yeah, there's always going to be that loophole, isn't there? Well, not necessarily a loophole, but it's going to be that revenue you can get. product from, so I don't think they're going to be full stop it.
Literally like selling non-TPD products. It's exactly the same thing. When TPD come out, you couldn't sell more than 20 milligrams to a consumer, and you couldn't sell it in a bigger bottle than 10 mil. I know people that are selling 250 mil of 72 milligram on their website.
But it goes back to who's regulating these fucking rules. Nobody seems to be doing it at the minute.
No, you know what? I would never fucking phone up trading standards and say, mate, check out www.xxxxx. If you can get away with it and make some money, and that's what you want to do, and knock yourself out, that's personally not what we chose to do. We chose to be compliant and not do them things. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like if more people weren't to play ball, I think that's when it would start getting worse. I feel like a lot of people are now, I'd say even before TPD, people were sort of doing more than they had to do. You know, like the standard is to have a clean room. Does it state it needs to be an ISO clean room?
No.
You know, people are doing more than they're meant to be doing to try and keep ahead of the game.
Yeah, but no one's doing as much as big tobacco produced liquids.
That's another true thing.
They took it to the next level, mate. So ultimately, that's because at some point in the next 5 years, they'll say, we've been producing ISO 2 clean rooms. You need to sort your shit out and actually up people's cleanliness levels. They're already producing at 10 times the specifics that we are in standard clean room or ISO 7.
Yeah. Barry Edwards says, would take them too much time for them to monitor properly. Not really, because they monitor food standards. You know what I mean? They monitor a lot of things. So to state that they could never turn around and say, we've got too much to do, we can't monitor vaping. You've put the fucking rules into place. Someone needs to monitor them rules.
At this moment in time, they can't, mate. And obviously with government cuts, I know from the factory's point of view, where we're heavily regulated by the Environmental Agency, our frequency of visit has dropped off from 4 times a year to once every 2 years in the last 10 years. And when they come out, they can't be asked. And I know they've literally walked past things that we've got diesel tanks. We've got 2 diesel tanks at the factory, one for white diesel for the vehicles, one with red diesel for the forklift trucks. So the red diesel forklift truck tank is a tank on legs with another tank underneath it as a bun tank. So if the tank above it spills out, it catches in there to stop it going into the drains. That said, the whole of our yard has got an interceptor tank. So everything off our yard runs through the interceptor tank before it discharges into the river. And that's so any nasties that we discharge by accident, if we have a spill, gets caught in the interceptor tank. The hose that comes from the tank that you put into the forklift truck to fill it up, when it goes back onto its holder, the hose is supposed to sit inside the bottom bun tank. So if someone drives over it and pierces it, it's not leaking out of the hose. Now, 4 years ago, they'd come round and give us a non-compliance for that. The last time they come round, he said, oh, you might want to just put that hose inside there. Because actually the time it takes him to draw up the paperwork to put that fucking non-compliance to us, for us to respond and say, yes, we've done it. And then they've got to come out and have another spot visit to prove that we're doing it all the time and it's not just something we do when they come for a visit. So they'll turn a blind eye to things, or they'll say, oh, stick that hose in there, mate. 5 years ago, when the fucking government was throwing money left, right and centre at all sorts of useless causes, they'd be fucking coming around with bastard. You just get non-compliance after non-compliance for the stupidest of things. Now they're just a bit like, can't be asked. And I think that filters right the way up and down in every single agency that's put in there by government to control anything.
Once Big Tobacco want control of it, though, I'm sure they can invest some money in getting them out and doing the regs properly, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's all about money, mate. It's all about where the biggest revenues come from. They're the things that are policed the most. They're the things that are controlled the most. They're the things that will be regulated the most. But Big Tobacco's in charge. There'll be enough money to be able to put certain agencies in that just monitor shops selling vaping devices and making sure they're compliant. It's going to be the equivalent of the bloke down the road who sells his Polish fags from under his counter at £3 a packet or £3.50 a packet. It still happens. They catch them, they fuck them. They get some more in, they try again, and they sell some, they make some money, they get caught, they lose the stock, and it's just a never-ending cycle of bullshit, and that's just the way that it'll be.
Yeah. Barry Edwards, I'm more bothered about Brexit. We won't get onto that. We will not get onto that. So as we're talking negative about this, I want to know your worst and best experiences in vaping. Let's start with your worst.
My worst experience in vaping.
Yeah, and it can be from your point of view as a vapor. It can be you as a shop owner, as a manufacturer. What do you feel like has been the worst experience you've had?
Some of the wankers involved in the industry.
Name and shine, love, name and shine.
Dash, don't get me in trouble.
We've
Give
only got
over.
45 minutes left, mate. I mean, genuinely, the worst thing for me is that for something that is so positive and something that made so many people so much money, that as it got tighter, instead of people just up in the game and doing their job, they just start becoming bitter and twisted and arguing. And I still see it now. I see the same people ranting and raving and talking absolute shit and trying to fucking get into everyone's pocket to make £1 million, and it doesn't work within 24 hours. So they're on there ranting and raving about what an absolute cunt they are. And for me, this industry is still wealthy for everyone to make their bit. And during the last 6 years, mate, I've said it many times, and I often use James as an example. And that's only because the first time I met James, he hadn't even opened his shop. And then to watch him grow and achieve what he's achieved in the last 4 years, he's exceptional. And it's just not normal, but he's still not satisfied with just doing what he does, constantly improving and doing and growing. So I can honestly say, genuinely, with my hand on my heart, because we achieved, I was going to say tenfold, but it's probably 100-fold, 1,000-fold of what I ever thought we'd ever do. I've never ever been bitter about seeing someone accelerate past us and achieve greater heights, because I've genuinely always been more than happy with what we achieved as a business, and what he'd done for me and Tasha. I could never ever be grateful enough for what he'd done for us. All that said, we put everything, and by everything, I'm not talking about the first 500 quid. We sacrificed fucking hours and hours and hours and hours of our time together, with the kids and all that other stuff. But we reap the benefits for doing that. And for me, I'll ever be forever grateful that we got into it and it give us what we've done. Yeah, and we've got to a point now where genuinely we don't spend a huge amount of time down in the shop, although Tasha's just walked in from doing a shift because we've got Jay off at Dudley, so the staff's all changed about. So Tasha's done a few shifts back over the last few weeks. But generally, we don't spend a huge amount of time down in the shop, and it's just allowed us a decent quality of life, relatively stress-free now. And that's because we chose to just cap it where we are. I'm happy where it is. And for me to sort of start taking it to the next level of more shops just revives the whole stress thing, which is what we started it for in the first place, was to get away from. So, yeah. But then you've got the likes of James that accelerated past us on so many levels. It proves that it can be done. And there's people that have come in later than us that have still accelerated to massive levels. There's people that come in earlier than us that accelerated up and crashed. And ultimately, it is what it is in life. Some people succeed to massive levels. Some people will make a nice, healthy living out of it. Some people will just bumble along, happy to be earning more than what they would if they were on the dole. And other people just can't run a piss up in a brewery, and that's just life. It's just the way that it is. So that's my worst experience, is that people that you would consider to be friends switching into absolute top arseholes because I don't know whether that's a vaping related thing though, or whether it's just I only met him because of vape.
Do you think though that a lot of people don't appreciate where they've got to and stuff like that, and that's maybe why they come out as assholes?
No, that's what I was just going to say. I mean, I can't think of anyone specifically.
It's sort of I
suppose the industry put me across the path of people that I wouldn't have met had it have not been for the industry. So that's the worst part of the industry for me, is that I ended up meeting people that turned out to be absolute pricks. I don't know whether that's a vaping related thing or whether it's just because I met them because of vaping. So I suppose in a roundabout way, that's the worst part of it for me, is that it's created some arseholes. The best part for me, genuinely, you know what, there's a few things that genuinely is the best part of it for me. And the one I've just said is that it changed our lives, and it changed our lives for the better. The other thing is that we employ people, which means that we also help to change their lives, or at least I'm not sitting there like fucking, you know what I mean, Lord. But I like the fact, like I said before, for a long time, Dudley broke even for us, but we employed 2 people. And while it weren't costing me any money, I didn't really need it to make me any money. As long as it paid the bills and paid their wages. And if it only ever done that till the day that we shut it, I'd have carried on. Now, there's lots of people that would have said it's pointless, not making 1 pence. Now, for me, it was making their wage. On that basis, I was quite prepared to leave it going. So that's another thing, is that actually what we've done has enabled us to employ people and give them an opportunity. The best thing for the vaping thing for me is genuinely the people that come back into that shop, whether it be after a week or a day or a fucking year or a month. And I was down there with Dave a few weeks ago, and we've got this Spanish or French bloke that comes in, who came into our shop on the very first Saturday we opened the shop, and he still comes in. And for them to be still coming back to us 5 years on is madness to me. But they're the genuine feel good things for me, is knowing that they've not had a cigarette in all that time, and that they've gone on holidays because the money they saved off the vaping. And there's people that have come in who were ill that have now better, and people that came in with issues that have gone because they're no longer smoking. That, without a doubt, by far is the best thing for me, genuinely. And that's always been the best feel good factor for me right from the start, is them people who walk out as a vapor who came in as a smoker.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the most rewarding things. It is like a self pat on the back to know, because I've said this plenty of times, and I do like to focus on it. And the fact is that vaping does save lives, and we sometimes forget that we do. I've said on many occasions to health workers, police, we're in the same trade. We save people's lives. At the end of the day, that's what it does. Whether it adds a year, 10 years, 50 years, whatever it adds onto somebody's life, vaping is very important. It's a very important fact in our lives. And, we've seen it grow from where it's been to where it is. And sometimes we do get disappointed in it, because, as you've said previously, there is twats in it, but there is twats in every walk of life.
Yeah,
Let's be
and
realistic.
I've always said that because I've been involved in much more different, diverse walks of life than the fucking vape shop. And the reality is, no matter what walk of life you go into, whether it be someone who's into fishing gear and selling it, someone who's into skateboarding, BMX parts, computers, I'd imagine. And again, it sounds like I'm blowing smoke up my ass. I'm not. I'm saying as you, like I say every week, you're saying people. You've got the Grey Hazies, you've got the James Burrs, you've got the Paul Harrisons, the Dales, the Toms, and all them people that started off early and actually aided the growth of this industry in the UK. We've all crossed each other's path. All been to expos together. We've been to each other's shops. We've been to meets. James Burr come to our wedding. Do you know what I mean? It's like you know people at a different level. And I'd imagine no matter what industry you are, if you're at a point where you're crossing paths with all them people, it's still going to be clicker in any industry. I think because these started off, and again, I've used this to said the same things again. We're just really going over old ground, but we all started off at a time where we could have, and probably all of us did, sell shit products. They were the best that we could get.
Yeah.
By today's standards, they were shit. The liquids weren't very good. The devices weren't very good. And we sold it and we made money, and we bought it and we sold it and we made money, and we could have opened at 11 o'clock in the afternoon and shut at 5, and we'd have still made lots of money. It made no difference. Then it starts becoming fierce. Then it starts becoming saturated. People start to knuckle down and actually start to do business. And at that point, people's attitudes change. Mine changed. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm holier than thou and I've never been an arsehole. I am an arsehole. And I have to control arsehole than what I am. So I'm not saying that I haven't changed, because we all changed. But some people changed way, way worse than others. Some people fuck friends over for money, and I've seen it happen. But I've seen that happen for people that sell weed. I've seen it happen for people that sell computer games. I've seen it happen for people that in every single walk of life, money starts to fuck people up. And it does. And I like to think that I was fortunate enough that I was a little bit older. I was a bit of a fucking wide boy in my youth, so I'd already sort of lived that life. But I did say to Tash, and I've said it to her a few times, if we'd have been together 20 years ago and I'd have been 20 years younger and we'd have made this much money, I would have been one of them knobheads driving around in the Lamborghini being a dickhead. Now, I'm not saying that anyone that's had a Lamborghini is a knobhead before everyone goes, oh, I don't mean that. I just know that I would have been a different person with the finances that we had available to us at our peak. Had I have been 10, even 15 years younger. Because I was a knobhead 15 years ago. Without that, like I said before, I fucking spent every penny I owned to buy a Range Rover because I had to have a Range Rover before I was 25. So if I'd have been had the ability to drive a 100 grand car, I'd have had it. I'd have probably wasted more money than we ever made trying to be a fucking wide boy. So I'm thankful personally that I'd done that bit of my life and I'd got to a point in my life where it was never about the money, it was about being successful.
Yeah.
And it enabled us to carry on and be successful. And that was good. It was good for us. There's other people that I've seen it ruin.
That's what I mean. Vaping's changed people in different ways, maybe financial difference, attitude difference, friend circles.
Yeah,
vaping has done a lot.
People that were the best of friends that started in this industry together be absolute loggerheads over money, over business. And all it proves is that they're weak at business. Because they should never, ever fall out. They should never lose a friendship over money.
Never can't differentiate, yeah.
But the point is, for that friendship to fail, one of them is bitter. Don't mean they're both arseholes. One of them's bitter as fuck. Now, at the end of the day, I'll be absolutely. I don't know whether Dale's watching or whether Dale isn't watching. When TYV started as a thing that was more than just Dale making liquid in his house, and you got involved and the shops opened, my assumption was that you was financially involved with Dale. Now, I didn't know you on a personal level from Adam. I didn't know Dale on a personal level. I'd met Dale. I'd met you. I was buying the liquid off Dale. I just assumed that you were financially committed to that business as a twosome.
Yeah.
As it goes, you wasn't. You were working there as an employee. Dale went through some really good times when you were there, and there was some bad decisions made that cost Dale a lot of money, whether that be opening shops. And I'm not slagging Dale off. I know people that were in exactly that position where they'd assisted their friend from the start, and because the friend was successful and the person that helped them obviously didn't get the same financial gain, it just goes sour because they're a bit like, well, I should have this. This should be mine. I've helped you build it. Now, I've said again many times, I work for that galvanizing company and I've done for 24 years and I earn a salary for it and I earn a decent salary and I drive a nice car through it and I've had a good living out of it. I don't get a percentage share of the profits of the business, which ultimately my day-to-day decisions help make good or bad. My gaffer owns that company lock, stock. Him and his wife own the business. If we make £1 million next year, I get paid my salary. I don't get a bonus on my salary. I don't get a percentage share of the profit. I get my wage. I've never once gone to his office and says, whoa, hang on a minute, bro. You need to hook me up fucking 50 grand because I agreed my salary and I earn it and I do it. And if we have a bad year and we lose 100 grand, I'm not expected to dip 50 of my own money and stick it into his business.
Yeah.
There's people that sort of go along going, I'll help you, mate. I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll help you. And because they don't get what they think they deserve, they get sore. That's reality. It's life. It's life. And even me and Dave have had conversations about it where even when like Yardley dropped down significantly from where we was at our peak, and Dave was like, yeah, it's still doing X amount. And I was like, yeah, by the time we paid the wage for you, the wage for Yvette, Tasha's wage, Stuart's wage, the rates, the rent, the insurance, and on and on and on. Actually, at that level, we're only breaking even. The chunk of money is a big chunk of money, but only if it's coming straight into my fucking bin. And if I'm getting the product for fuck all, do you know what I mean? So
It's appreciating that it as a wide thing rather than just where you're at, you personally. It's appreciating everything.
Mate, I know from I always use the factory as a more sort of stable opinion of people, because we at our peak we employed 120 people. I was responsible for them 120 employees across 3 different sites. We were operating 24 hours a day at the 2 sites. We were operating 7 days a week at the 1 site. So this was a constant thing that was happening, and we was employing people, replacing people, building up shifts, going from 2 shifts to 3 shifts, employing whole new shifts, laying shifts off, and a whole manner of different things has happened in my 24 years there, of which out of them 24 years, for 22 of them, I've been in some sort of position of management and running people, shifts and factories. But I've come across people that would work 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, because they understand that by the business being successful, they've got job security.
Yeah.
And I've worked with people that would knock you over at 5 o'clock after they've clocked out to get out the door and not be there 1 minute past 5. Because why the fuck should I help these cunts make lots and lots of money? Because I'm only earning my money the same way regardless. And that is just, I'll never understand that attitude as long as I live, because I've never had it. Because my old man always taught me, if you've got to do 10 days on the trot, 20 days on the trot, because there might not be the 21st day's worth of work, you do it when it's there. He always said to me, you make hay while the sun's shining. So if it's there, if there's double shifts on offer, if there's weekends on offer, if you have to work fucking Saturday and Sunday, then straight back into your next week and next weekend's available, do it. Because the month after that, there might be no overtime. You might be put on 3 days a week. So if there's money to be made, I'm only going to work to earn money. So if you can work more and earn more, keep doing it. And then you get these to go, oh, I working Saturday, the taxman takes more than I earn. Then people need to be kicked in their fanny. Because it's like the most ridiculous, stupid statement ever. You don't pay more tax than what you earn. You just pay more tax than what you do if you don't work that Saturday.
Right.
So it's like, but in the factory, I've employed all them different scopes of people that will literally bust their arse and work an extra hour knowing they're not even going to get paid for it, because it benefits them personally tomorrow by not having to come into a load of shit. There's people that want paying for every single minute that they do overtime, and there's people that just won't do it because I'm not going to get used to it, because if I work Saturday and an extra 70 quid, 80 quid, 100 quid, whatever it is, I'll get used to it, and then when it stops, I'm fucked. Now, I used to think, well, if I can earn 100 quid this Saturday, I can stick that in the bank, I can save that and do, because everyone's wired differently, Tom. Everyone is different. But the reality is, it just takes all sorts to make the world spin right. My dad always used to say there's a fucking seat for every arse. And it's true that everyone's different, but ultimately all them different people make the world what it is. It makes us what we are and them what they are, and it's just how it is.
Like in the vaping industry, it's like a lot of people got rich overnight in the beginning, like massively rich overnight, and it was never sort of and I know you've said this plenty of times, but it's a true fact. It's a lot of people made money who would have never made that money in their lifetime if they wouldn't have dropped on it at the right time. Because they wasn't business savvy. They literally was there at the right time. And to me, when that money came in, everybody saw that money overnight. Boom. These people are now ballers, big ballers. Everyone saw it. And now everybody wants to be that big baller who's literally flipping $1 million overnight. Because that's what it was. Because I remember when this phrase, vaping millionaire, was out. And I'm sure you started that. I'm sure you started that.
There was people that, I mean, I can honestly say, right, when I first started vaping, the very, very first vape that I had, by the end of that first week, I was saying to Tasha, we could make a lot of money out of this. And that was just the business thing in my head that's always been in my head from when I was fucking Billy's age, when I was 16 and I was working with my dad, and I was like, I don't want to work for somebody else. Now, as it goes, like I said on the show last week or the week before, I ended up going to the factory to get a little bit of a stable income. But within weeks, I was like, you know what, I can make something of myself here. And I did, and I worked hard for it, but I got to where I wanted to go. But the money did drive me at first, because I was like, we can buy this, we can sell it. I was buying the kits from Costco, and for odd quid with the VAT, and they were retailing on Vape Stick's website for £55. I was selling them for 45 quid. I was making £20 a kit. And I weren't even a vape. I had nothing to do with vaping. I was just literally flogging kits to family and friends and sold fucking loads of them. Then I started buying pods, like the cartridges. And because I was buying so many, I got my own affiliate with them. So I was making a little bit on that. So they were paying what they'd pay if they ordered it off the website, but I was delivering it to their house. And it was more about, at that time, mate, if I could earn £20 a week extra, I'd do what I had to do to earn £20 a week extra, because I didn't have £20 a week spare at the end of a fucking week.
It's like everything just came so easy. And that's what I feel like is the worst thing, is because everybody just saw it come so easy that everyone started, when it got a little bit more competitive, everyone sort of was like, fuck you, and just did like turn their back on everyone. That's me personally, that's how I felt.
No, and to an extent, I also done that same thing, but I honestly, and I mean, someone might pull me up, someone might come on here and say, you're a liar, Paul, you fucked me right over. I can't think of anyone that I've blatantly fucked over in the interest of me making more money, because I can't think of anyone ever in more time in the vaping industry where money's been a deciding factor of whether I fuck someone over or whether I haven't. If I fuck someone over, they're a cunt. It's nothing to do with the money. And if I've made a penny extra out of them, I'd stick it in a charity box as keep it, because it's never been about the money. Whether it's fucking them over or the business itself, it's never really bothered me. And I've seen people even mocking about, like, my car, going, oh, he goes on like he's been out and bought it himself. And I've never once says that's my car. I've never once, that car's my company car. But that car cost me £10,000 of my own money to drive as a company car a year. So if I have that car for 4 years, it's cost me 40 grand of my money that I don't even own that car at the end of the term. It goes back, it belongs to the company. The tax man takes nearly £10,000 a year off me just to drive that car. So I could quite easily finance an 80 grand car over 4 years, and it'd still be worth more than 40 grand in 4 years' time, and I'd be in a better position than what I am. And I'll see people who are driving £60 cars who have had more cock go through them than Bernard Matthews' turkey factory having little gigs. And I'm like, Tasha's car's our car. We went out and bought it, and we bought and paid for it. I'm not saying you're trying to floss or anything like that. That's not what I'm doing. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that, and I've said it before, even though when me and Tasha got together, I was on my arse broke. I was fortunate enough that I had a good job that paid good money. For personal reasons, we weren't left with much money every month, but we were happy, and we still had a roof over our head. We still had food in the cupboard most of the time. The reality is we could afford to smoke because we did. We at some point we both had cars. We used to put the diesel and the petrol in the cars, and we paid the insurance, we paid the taxis. The dishwasher broke, we could go out and afford to buy a new dishwasher, or we might have to save up for it. We weren't wealthy by any stretch, but we're not wealthy now by any stretch. We just live a decent life. But
live by means, isn't it?
We've been in this house for 10 years. Me as 10 in December. We've been in this house from the 1st of August for 10 years. So we had this house 10 years ago. Literally, we stretched ourselves to get this house. And to the point where, to be honest, I would have not had it, and Tasha wanted it, and I was like, you know what, we'll do it then. But it was an extra, whatever it was just working over a bit, like, you know. So we had this house. I've always had a nice car. So I mean, nothing changed in our lives really. Like I've said before, a few material things that you wouldn't just blow money on became not so much of a problem. But there's people who I know in the last 5 years have spent money they'll never, ever, ever, ever have go through their hands again.
No, it's living by your means, isn't it? And that's the thing. A lot of people haven't done that.
People that burnt their own business out by expecting the high time to be there forever and a day. It's like, it comes back to the Endless thing that I said the other day, when Endless was fucking smack. Like, I genuinely believe we helped create that whole mech thing, genuinely, because we came in with such a competitively priced mod at a time when mods were grossly expensive. When we needed to manufacture thousands of mods, we done it, and we made the money accordingly. And when it's slowed down, we slowed down. There's other people that just ploughing and ploughing and ploughing, then they're sat with £1 million worth of stock going, fuck, this ain't selling anymore. And it's knowing when to go balls deep and when to fucking pull out. It's as simple as that. And there's some people that were that wrapped up in the AMG Rolex life that they didn't realise that some money was being spent. I mean, Tom, from the day that we opened our shop, I would say it was getting on for 2 years before we took anything considerable out of that business, because the business grew at such a rate that we could have done twice what we were taking, and it had still gone straight back into new stock. The minute something new dropped in China, we were on it, we ordered it, we paid for it. It took me 2 years as a business to be in a position to say, have we got the money to place that order for $20,000? I knew what we took in the shop. We should have had the money, but I'd actually spent $10,000 there, $5,000 there, fucking $11,000 to America for one brand of bastard liquid. It was these sort of decisions I was having to make. It took us 2 years to be in a point where if I pressed the button on a $40,000 order from China, I knew the money was there. It had to be. I didn't have to check. But for the first 2 years, it was coming in and going out that fast. I didn't know whether I'd got a pound or a fucking million. That's the honest truth. And we took fuck all out of the business. I worked down that shop every day for more than 12 months. At some point, there was probably a handful of days where I'd say, I'm not going to go down there today. Tasha was down. If I weren't down there, Tasha was down there. Sometimes we were down there together and someone would have the kids. Sometimes the kids were down there with us. It's just the way that it was. But there was other people who were just like, fuck me, man, this is going to make us wealthy. And I've seen them come and I've seen them go. And that's just is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's just the way that the world spins. And
it's it's a crazy one. That's realistic. It's been a roller coaster, and it carries on to be a roller coaster. And people will come and go. And as you said in previous line of business, and you've seen in many walks of life, it's that people do come and go. And, you know, we have got these people that expect to become a millionaire overnight, and it doesn't happen, and off they go to try something else to become a millionaire overnight.
Heroin will get you there.
It'll get you.
Talking about heroin and millionaires and dickheads. Anyone watch 24 Hours in Custody?
Do you watch it, this guy?
Mate, it's about like the fucking child protection unit. So basically, they've literally, this will probably shit up. I've just had a quick look through who was in the chat. So some people in the chat are going to be like, fuck, you know, but basically they literally can tell IP address, even if you've just downloaded an image off a random site of like child porn.
Was this the two Asian brothers?
The Asians.
The two Asian brothers, yeah, I did see this one.
My man, he's blatantly got 50,000 images on his computer of child porn. So they land at the house, and there's about 4 or 5 Asian lads in there, and the police say,
I'm the mum and the sister.
Yes, but the police pretty much got them all in one room and said, right, who's the fucking pervert? and the one of them's gone, fucking me, man. Like, they take him down to the police station, and he's going, come on, let's go. We need to just go, man. I'm embarrassed for my family and blah, 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 blah. Search the house. 200 and something grand in cash. 200 and odd wraps of fucking cocaine. The keys to another fucking drug house. 12 fucking Macs. A Mercedes, the BMW. They had to seize the fucking lot because they got a pervert in the crew, man. And I was going, fucking hell. I was saying to Tash last night, I would be fucking screwy.
Do you know what scared me about that show? So they both got what did they get? 6 years each for the heroin.
Yeah.
And my man got 18 months for fucking 50,000 images. I went, what the fuck?
And it was I said to Tasha, I bet I'm 99% sure that would run concurrent with his 6 years term as well. So like, he didn't do a day longer. But what concerned me more than that was, obviously they found that first lot of money. They found 80 grand in the shoebox under his bed. Then they found another box with fucking £120,000 in or whatever. Did you see the rack of £50 notes, mate? They must have been in 10 bags per fucking stack. And I was like, oh, man, fucking wounded. But they actually said that the reality is, if it was just the child images on its own, there probably wouldn't have been any custodial sentence.
Yeah.
Because they were sending him to jail anyway for the fucking drugs and the money and the cars and all that malarkey, they probably tagged an 18-month sentence on to run concurrently. because it'll just show that he actually served 18 months for child sex abuse. But the reality is, had it had just been an offence standalone, it probably would have been a suspended sentence on this fucking sex offenders register.
But he's only on the list for 10 years. That bloke should be on the fucking list for his life.
They should shoot him in the fucking face. That's what they're doing, dirty cunts. But I was just like, as if that whole drug ring has fell apart because one of them was fucking wrong.
That's all they went in for.
They went in there because he'd been downloading naughtiness on his laptop and stumbled across a whole fucking drug ring, man.
They bought 3 wraps.
3 wraps, didn't they? Had a little big deep, man, 100 bag under his bed. And did you see when he was being interviewed? And they says, "Oh, we're just going to rearrest you for possession of Class A," and he's like, "Oh, fuck's sake!" And I know he's thinking, "Fucking Mo's going to fucking kill me." They were at the house, aren't they, man? Sitting on all this money and drugs and fucking machetes and fucking samurai swords and all sorts of madness. Crazy.
Yeah, it was a bit of a naughty one, that one.
Moral there, if you're going to be a pervert, don't do it and sell drugs, man.
Or when you sell drugs, don't keep money at your fucking house and don't chop up and leave keys at your house. Crazy world, man. Yeah, but they only knew it was him, not just for the keys, but because the 3 wraps he had in his room were the same fucking cling film. Do you see the cling film in the bin?
Mate, also to Tasha, they must be balling. It was raw. How many wraps would you get out of one? You can wrap 900 picnics out of one fucking roll of cling film. How many bombs of fucking heroin could you wrap off? Did you see how many empty rolls there was, mate?
He had a bin bag full, didn't there?
Yeah, bin full of empty rolls of cling film. That pure money's gone through their hands, man. Fucking
just in them little fucking lunch boxes as well, wasn't it?
Shocking.
Like half a mil worth of fucking heroin in lunch boxes. Fucking craziness. Oh. Well, it's Tenter. I know you've got. Have you made your mash yet? Are you making it after the show?
I'm not eating the mash today, mate. Just in case it does. Give me the shits, man, because I've got fucking plug ready to go. I have.
Well, we better get up status of the week then, don't we? It's his Tenter, so we get status of the week up. Before that, I've got a question for you. We have a quick article, and it's of a school in America that has vape detectors. So when the kids are vaping in the toilet, the head teacher gets a text message in the area where the kids are vaping. Do you think that's a pro or a con?
I think it's a pro because they shouldn't be vaping in the toilets at school.
Do you think it would put them off?
Huh?
You think it would put them off?
Nah, you weren't supposed to smoke in my school, but I fucking did.
It literally sends the location.
In a school, there's going to be one probably ginger kid, right? I'm sorry if I've offended any ginger viewers. It's going to get made to stand with his vape pen at the door anyway, while the other lads are vaping in the shit house. So when the teacher lands, the ginger kid's getting dragged off for vaping. Simple as. That's what used to happen with smoking. We always had a knobhead on guard with the fag. Tasha had a dinner lady they used to call Nicotine Jean. And they used to let us, like, Nicotine Jean would let you smoke, but you'd have to give her a fucking cigarette. Good old Nicotine Jean, man. She's in my book, Nicotine Jean.
Nicotine Jean.
She made it to my book.
That is fucking brilliant. Nicotine fucking Jean. Right. Right. The status of the week was from Friday. And it says, donating a tenner off your company mobile because you know your gaffer is a generous fuck.
The truth of it is, mate, he'll be like that. Fucking tenner!
I was going to ask you, was that a true? Did you do that?
Nah, you know what? I can honestly say, right, man on my, if I'd have donated a tenner, he wouldn't have even asked me for the tenner. But I didn't donate the tenner because at the risk of being branded a white supremacist, right? Their fucking donation up their fucking arsehole. I don't give a fuck if that cunt has to walk 8 miles for his water. Not my responsibility. I don't want to be fucking seen to be being supreme over a fucking poor black kid, so fuck all of them. So that can be your next status of the week if you like.
I love how the fact you just said fuck off walking 8 miles to water and then stuffed a jug.
I left the tap running on Friday night just because I could. It was like a fucking Starbucks fucking shop in there. I had all the taps going just fucking for jokes.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, on that note, we're out of here. Paul needs a poo. So we're going. We'll see you all next week. Remember to like, subscribe, and take it easy. See you all soon.
Speak to you later.
Peace.